Welcome back to the lineup. Now to the drama in British politics growing by the day. The Labour Party mired in a scandal over claims of anti-Semitism. Last night, Labour MP Louise Ellman told us that party leader Jeremy Corbyn should have acted faster to put a stop to it. Today, no less than 3 more suspensions over the same issue. With me, London correspondent Jonathan Sacerdoti. Good evening, Jonathan.
Good evening. Jeremy Corbyn has certainly got faster, hasn't he? These 3 councillors today fired within 5 hours. Well, not fired, but suspended. Like London buses, you wait for a while and then 3 come along all at once. Quite an extraordinary day for the Labour Party today.
How have they been dealing with it, in your view? You've been reporting on this, covering it very closely, not just when this scandal has erupted recently, but for years.
That's right. This is not really a new problem for the Labour Party. Some of these councillors have been making these statements for some time, sometimes before they were in office, sometimes during the time they've been on office. What the Jewish community seems to be saying about this particular news item now is that while it's front page news in the national newspapers and on the news channels at the moment, it has been front page news in their lives for some time. Jewish people have said to me that they know that these sorts of views have long been there in the Labour Party, and only in the last couple of weeks does this seem to have become a controversy that the whole country is now expressing an opinion on.
When we see party leader Jeremy Corbyn also himself part of these allegations over the last few years, can he be relied on? Is there faith that he can lead a sort of change in the party?
That's the question everybody's asking, and to try to allay fears, he decided that he would set up an inquiry into anti-Semitism within the party. On Friday, he announced that Shami Chakrabarti would be heading that inquiry and coming up with a new code of conduct for Labour Party officials, ministers, potential councillors, MPs, teaching them how not to be anti-Semitic. Quite an extraordinary thing when you hear that in 2016. But with his own connections, as you say, in the past to groups like Hamas and Hezbollah, who he's called friends, and his own connections to people who have been shown to be Holocaust deniers,
Jonathan,
it's not known whether this will have enough of an effect to make the nation believe he's going to act strongly and toughly against these other people within his party who are now being suspended pending investigation.
And Jonathan, if we're talking about effects, this is less than 48 hours before an election. What can we expect from this scandal to have happen there?
The Labour Party will be hoping that this doesn't have an effect on the election result, but of course it may well, including that very important election for London Mayor. Sadiq Khan had been 20% ahead in the polls if you count second choices, but that was a poll done before most of these anti-Semitic incidences came out in the public, and now it has to be remembered that in the election for London Mayor, when Boris Johnson won, many did point towards Ken Livingstone's views on Jewish people and the effect they'd had on the Jewish community as a reason that they hadn't voted for him.
Jonathan,
so
if we're looking forward
in this election.
Jonathan, looking forward, how much of an effect do you expect this to have on the Labour Party going far beyond the election, not just to the end of the week?
Well, people are calling into question Corbyn's leadership because, as you say, he in the past has had connections to those who make the Jewish community very uncomfortable. So this could be the beginning of the end for Corbyn. But he's hanging on tight there, and he still has loyalists within the party, like Diane Abbott, for example, who came out to speak in his defence and say there wasn't even an anti-Semitism problem, despite all these things we're seeing.
Right.
She said that just yesterday on one of the political shows here in the UK.
Jonathan Sacerdoti in London, thanks very much for this.